Hey guys, what I want to talk about today is when to deviate from a plan or program, okay? So let's say you plan out, you map out what you're going to do over the next 12 weeks, right? You have every workout laid out, you have your cardio laid out, diet laid out, everything you're going to do. So when is it reasonable to deviate from the plan? Well, you have to take a look at a couple things. Recovery, your job, your life, your lifestyle, things that are going on. So those things change. In today's society, those things change more rapidly than I would say maybe a decade ago, 2 decades ago. Everything seems to be changing much more rapidly now. So it's kind of hard to plan that far out in advance. So what I have to look at is, okay, this is the goal for the next 12 weeks. How we're going to get there may differ on day 60 versus day 1, okay? So we have the meat and the potatoes, the scaffolding laid out of the plan. The little things may adapt in there as we go, okay? So let's say you're on like week 3 of a new program and you are really feeling sore, tired, beat down, fatigued. You are not recovering how you should be. That would probably be a good time to kind of reevaluate and say, hey, maybe my general physical preparedness was not where it needed to be to start this program. This program is too hard. We may want to add in some more rest days, adjust the food, manipulate cardio, things like that. Another way would be to kind of push through it, maybe go another week or 2 and see where you're at. But you should be tracking things, tracking metrics such as repetitions performed, weight achieved, things like, are you able to progress each workout when it comes back around to that same workout in the block? So if you're missing those things, it is probably good to add some more rest days in. If you are hitting those numbers and you're beating those numbers, probably just push through it and that soreness you're feeling is going to go away. Now, what to do if you get sick? My personal opinion is, as long as you don't have a fever or something like the stomach flu where you'd be very dehydrated, I think you can work out and be totally fine. Sometimes I even feel like that circulation, that blood flow, getting things moving can be very helpful in terms of getting that sickness over quicker. But if you have a fever, if you feel beat up, you feel dead, kind of have those body aches, or if you have the stomach flu coming out both ends, definitely take a break. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get run down too much, okay? So another thing we want to look at is, let's say you come into the gym one day and you're in a busier gym and your plan for the day is to do X, Y, and Z. And you look around and X, Y, and Z is totally taken up and you're probably not going to be able to get it for a while and you have a limited amount of time. What do? This is when, what I do, I call it an audible. You just kind of change things up on the fly. You go to a different gym, you're not used to things, you come in, there's a lot of people. What do? So you just find something similar to the movement that you were going to do that day. You made the best of what you got. And the most important thing is go to failure and exhaustion. If your goal is to overload something, let's say it's a bench press and you can't get on a bench press, but you can get an incline bench with dumbbells, you can still exhaust those pec muscles and go to failure. And it's almost the exact same thing. Where this would get a little funny is like if you were training for something like a powerlifting meet, you had a very movement specific thing or a sport specific thing, but the majority of us are not, okay? So don't get hung up in these tiny little details. This would be a time it would be okay to deviate from plan, as long as you're keeping the work very hard and to the intensity for that specific workout. As long as they align, you're good to go. When would you not want to deviate from a plan? Okay, so if your goal is maximal fat loss and you have a date that you have to be ready for something, that's when deviating from the plan becomes a little more tricky. You don't just wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to do my cardio. That's the recipe to not get to your goal. So that's when having a coach to help you evaluate when is a good time to deviate from the plan, when is a good time to back off, or when is it you just need to suck it up and push through. That's where a coach really comes in to help you out. So that can be a little trickier. Sometimes our brain and our body plays tricks on us. It's hard to really know what's best at that point because our body does want to remain comfortable as much as possible. So that's a little tricky, but for the most part, the takeaway from this would be, if you are beat up, sore, the muscle you're supposed to train that day hurts, that would be a good time to do something different, take a rest day. Excuse me, I had a sneeze. That would be a great time for a rest break. If you just feel a little tired but nothing's really sore, I would just proceed through the workout. Now, another scenario, you get to the gym, you felt good going into that, and then you start warming up and things are just not clicking. I have seen this time and time again when people push through that is usually when an injury occurs. The older I've gotten, the longer I've lifted, I have really learned to pay attention to how the warm-up goes and those first few kind of primer sets, working up into the work, have really gotten into my body. And if it doesn't feel right, I have no problem calling an audible and switching and mixing things up, because it is more important to get a little something done and be able to work out the next day and the next week than push through, do something stupid and get hurt and then be out of the gym for 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long it's going to be, okay? So you have to listen to your body. Your body changes. It's not going to be the same day to day, week to week, month to month. You have to learn to listen and see what's going on. For the most part, most people should push through. But as you get closer and closer to your goal, things become more and more dialed in. It does become more important to really understand what's going on, when to push and when to pull back. So what I'm going to leave you with is, most people need to push through. Most people need to have more mental toughness. Most people need to stick to the plan. We can all benefit from having a coach helping us understand when to push and when to pull back, and listen to your body. Hope that helps, guys.